But first, we continue our coverage of this important election day in Virginia. The folks at Christopher Newport University spend much of the year studying the issues and asking questions to voters about their thoughts headed into the election.
One of those people is Rebecca Bromley-Trujillo, joining us today. She is the research director of the Wason Center for Civic Leadership. Rebecca, thank you so much for joining us.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Let's jump right into this. Now, your polls have revealed the top issues for voters in this election that include the economy, abortion, education. Which one do you think is driving voters to the polls today?
So I really think this depends on if we're talking about Democrats, Republicans, or independents. So absolutely, overall, the top issues are what you say: the economy, abortion, K-12 education. But when you get into the nitty-gritty of Democrats versus Republicans, Democrats have a whole different set of issues, and abortion is their top issue. And for Republicans, they're really coalescing around the economy. And independents are a mix. Economy, abortion. I think abortion is going to be the huge motivator of the night, though.
We've heard from a few voters from Suffolk, for example, and they mentioned the economy, and they mentioned the cost of groceries, for example.
Yes, I mean, the pocketbook issues really sell in campaigns, and certainly with inflation being high, people noticing these high gas prices, higher grocery bills, as you say, this is certainly an issue that in particular Republicans could speak to and probably benefit from focusing on that issue. Whereas, Democrats, some of them are talking about cost of living. We're certainly seeing that in several districts, but they're focused on abortion in part because that's a highly motivating issue for their voters.
For education, for instance, we're not talking about reading, writing, and arithmetic. We're talking about book bans and pronouns, and people feel very strongly about these things.
Yes, they really do. Yes, so there's kind of the two sides of the education issue. There's the culture war issues that you speak about, transgender policy in the classroom, what should we be teaching in the classroom, the book bans. And so on that side of things, in our polling, book bans aren't particularly popular, but on the side of transgender issues, having kind of transgender students in sports is not particularly popular in the sport that matches their gender identity. And so there's sort of Democrats have a benefit around the book ban side, and Republicans have a stronger link to the transgender issues as far as the popularity of their policies. But then there's also the school funding side of the education issue. And so a lot of Democrats are not really diving into the culture war. They're diving into, we have underfunding in our education system, and they are talking about ramping up those funds to better educate the students.
Dr. Bromley-Trujillo, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, happy to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.